recording. We have 55 attendees at the call today. Thank you everyone who joined us today. I'm Ala Kazayeva, ICF EMEA, Europe, Middle East and Africa Regional Development Manager. I want to let you know that this webinar was organized by 8 ICF chapters: ICF Bulgaria, Estonia, Kazakhstan, Latvia, Lithuania, Sakartvelo, Serbia, and Slovenia. It looks like that it's 9 countries. And also ICF community of ICF members in Croatia promoted this webinar and encouraged their members and those who are interested in coaching to join our webinar today. Thank you all the chapters for promotion for the promotion campaigns for these webinars in your respective countries. Our webinar will be facilitated today by 𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒈, ICF Sakartvelo chapter president, and I'm turning the mic over to Eka.
Ala, thank you for this lovely overview and the presentation. I'm really excited to be here with you, with our members and the members of wider society, because this webinar was promoted and available for HR professionals as well, in our country at least, and for the leaders who are interested into incorporating coaching in their organizational culture. And this is quite an interesting subject for most of the organizations nowadays in Georgia, in Sakartvelo, and also in other countries, as I know. So Benita, we are very happy to host you, and I'm very grateful for all our teamwork of all our EMEA region chapters and Croatia chapter that is hopefully, fingers crossed, coming soon. And thanks to our 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒈, our organizational development officer and a member of board, to contribute to the creation of this webinar. So this is a big teamwork, and Benita, we are happy to host you today with this wonderful subject of criteria for coach selection, which is of a huge interest. And we would like to listen to you, of course. I am happy to observe the chat, and please put your questions into the Q&A section of the Zoom, so that I could have the possibility to see all the comments and all the questions that Benita will eagerly answer at the end of our session, and as she promises, during the session as well. So thank you for your participation, and Benita, please, the floor is yours.
Benita,
thank you, Katrina.
Before you started, I just wanted to introduce you a little bit. Benita 𝒑𝒓𝒐𝒏𝒂𝒍,
Okay.
the first MCC Master Certified Coach in the Middle East, the founder of the ICF Oman chapter, the chair of the global board of ICF Credentials and Standards, certified mentor and author of books and articles. And I'm really sorry, Benita, if I missed something. I'm sorry for that. And if you find it interesting to add anything else, I would appreciate that.
Great, thanks, Ellen. But you know, this webinar is not about me, it's about these wonderful participants that we have here. So I think that's enough about me. And I want to thank Katrina and Ala and all the chapters and all the teams who worked so hard to put this together. But most of all, I want to say thank you to the participants for joining us today, because this is an especially exciting topic for me. It's one of my favorites. And I know what I want to tell you, but I also want to know what you want to learn. So first of all, let me tell you that I'm a very proud ICF credentialed coach. And the reason that I'm giving this presentation is, first of all, because I'm an ICF Master Certified Coach and proud of that. And I'll explain more about that as we go through. I also manage a coaching practice for an HR consultancy, and I only hire coaches with an ICF credential. And I'll explain why. I currently have 10 coaches working on projects for our consultancy. And the other interesting thing is that when I first started coaching in the early 90s, coaching was fairly simple. And coaching was coaching, that was it. And today it's much more complex than that. So I'm hoping as we go through this presentation to be able to walk you through some of that complexity. But first of all, I'd like to know who's on the call today. So I'm going to ask Alla to launch a poll. If you could please participate so I know who's with us. And after you've participated, and while we're waiting for the poll to be finished, I would ask you to put in the Q&A section, what do you want to learn or ask about during today's very short presentation? What is it you want to know?
What do you think? We have 28, 30 answers from our 80 attendees. Just let me know if you would like to end the poll.
How many participants do we have total?
80.
80 participants?
80 participants, and 44 already voted, and
Okay.
it lasts already for almost 1 minute.
Okay. Let's wait a little while until we get about close to the majority of the people.
Okay, good.
Because while we're waiting, people can put in the Q&A what they want to learn or hear about today. So that will give them also time to put that in.
Great. 63% of attendees voted as of now. Okay, you still have time to vote. That is amazing. We have a lot of people with general interest. That is really amazing. Yeah.
Good. All interest is good.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
All interest. It's a very, in my opinion, it's a very interesting topic. I'm a little biased, though, I must say.
Ivana, can you please add your question to the chat?
To the chat rather than the Q&A?
It could be both. Yeah, we can use both.
Okay.
Okay, 69% of attendees voted, and we got 56 answers out of 81. Are you okay to end?
Are people still voting? No. Okay, let's end and see who we have with us today.
Okay, 70% of attendees voted. Okay, let me end polling and share results. Here we are. Benita, do you see the results? You can scroll down. Yeah. You can scroll down just to see.
Can I scroll down? Oh, I see.
Can you?
Yep.
I guess it will be could be also interesting for all other attendees
nice.
as well, just to understand. Yeah.
So a fair number of people who are from the business function. So I have some good information for you on hiring coaches and HR functions, and some good information on coaches on why that credential is so important and how you can let people know how important it is. And for those of you with general interest, of course, I'm happy to answer your questions. Ellen, if we could close the poll.
Yeah, we can close, and we have already some questions in the chat. Would you like me to read them right now, or we'll read them later?
Sure. If we already have some, that would be great.
Question from 𝒑𝒂𝒄𝒉. I would like to have Benita's perspective. What are the criteria of the coach that she considers as most important, and why? What are the
Okay.
criteria of the coach that we need to
Yeah.
consider as most important and why? Mukul Dhawan, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, how to select a mentor coaches for ICF credentialing. Okay, okay.
And we have some more in the Q&As.
Yeah, I'm very interested in the international experience of choosing coaches. Andrei Yakunin. Okay, and Eka, please feel free to read questions from Q&A. Okay for you?
Benita, would you be comfortable to read all the questions, or you will answer and after proceed?
Go ahead and read them, because some of them I'll answer during the presentation.
Okay,
So
okay, Benita.
if you read them, that would be good.
Fine, thank you. So Mirjana Gomiljanovic asks how to educate the business community and how to select a coach. The second question is from anonymous attendee. It would be great if you write your name so that we can have the possibility to refer to you. And the question is why accreditation is so important. And the third question is from 𝒑𝒓𝒊𝒏𝒈. Excuse me if I didn't pronounce it correct. And the question is, I am interested in how to be selected as a coach for the company. Thank you for all your questions by now.
Great. Thank you. Those are all fabulous questions. Thank you. And I will answer them as we go through. Some of them, if I don't get them answered as we go through, I will answer them towards the end of the presentation. Ella, I should close the poll, or you close it? You have to close it, I think, Ella.
I have closed it. So just click on the cross on your screen. Eka, do you see? Because I don't see it on my screen.
The poll is closed already.
I don't know why I see it on mine. Okay. Okay, I'm not quite sure how to close this poll. Sorry.
It's on the right hand.
There we go. Okay. It's still here, but it's okay. I will. It allowed me to change now. So, okay. So to start with, I want to tell you why I only hire ICF credentialed coaches. This is a really important piece for me. And the reason that I only hired ICF credentialed coaches is because of their standards of excellence and their recognition of their profession of coaching as a profession and their dedication to their profession. So ICF is the largest global membership for professional coaches. There are over 41,000 members, of which 35,000 are credential holders. There's more than 140 chapters in 80 countries and territories. And these are stats from December, so they're probably higher than that now. But the most important thing for you to know is that all ICF members must have a foundational level of coach-specific training. And this is really, really important when you're hiring a coach or when you want to sell yourself as a coach. And as a consumer and as a coach, it's important for you to know that ICF members and ICF credential holders. So a person may be a member and not hold a credential, but they must adhere to the ICF Code of Ethics. And the Code of Ethics is really important to you. And it provides a guide and accountability and enforceable standards of conduct for all ICF members and credential holders. It describes the values and ethical principles and ethical standards of behavior for all coaches. And most important for coaches and consumers of coaching is there is an ethical conduct review forum where individuals can bring complaints about alleged abuse of the ICF Code of Ethics, and by either a member or a credential holder. And that's really important to you as a consumer. So you have some protection, and as a coach, you also have some protection. And when you might wonder why I'm saying that, how does that protect a coach? Because we have a lot of people who might call themselves a professional coach or a credentialed coach without realizing that they really aren't an ICF credentialed coach yet. They don't do it intentionally, I think, but it offers the coaches some protection in their markets. But it's really important to you as business owners, as business leaders, and as HR professionals. It's important for you to know about the Code of Ethics. And there's a link down at the bottom of this screen. I would suggest that when you're hiring coaches, that you go have a look at the Code of Ethics and see how the Code of Ethics, see the standards that the coaches you're hiring are holding themselves to. So I wish I could get rid of this poll. Alec, you can't close my poll, can you? No. Okay. So with an ICF, you're pointing up?
Do you have a cross? There is this poll with the results of the poll, and on the top, on the right hand side, there is a cross which you need to click. But Ek and we can't see the poll.
I don't know why it's showing up on my screen, because now
Benita, does it allow you to
there,
drag?
it's gone. It's gone. I got it.
Okay.
It's gone.
Good.
A magic again. It's gone. So one of the things that's important to know about an ICF credential is it means that your coaches who you're hiring, or you as a coach, when you're promoting yourself, you can be assured that the ICF credential stands for people who demonstrate their knowledge, their skill, and their commitment to high ethical and professional standards. So it's knowledge, it's skills, and most importantly, it's this commitment to high ethical and professional standards. So what does it take to become an ICF credentialed coach? You'll hear this, especially when coaches will often use these acronyms, ACC, PCC, MCC, and think that everybody in the world knows what that means. But it can be confusing in the market. So here's just a quick overview of what those things mean. So an ACC means an associate certified coach. PCC is a professional certified coach, and MCC is a master certified coach. They must have coach-specific training hours, 60 hours, 125 hours, and 200. So there's different levels of coaching. Coaching experience, so they not only have to have training, but they also have to be able to prove their experience and prove their coaching knowledge and skills. So it's 100 hours for ACC, 500 for PCC, and 2,500 for MCC. So you're just getting a much more experienced coach when you have a master certified coach than when you have an associate certified coach. Doesn't mean they're better or worse. It just means they have more experience, and it depends what you're looking for. So the ICF credential is the only globally recognized professional coaching certification, globally recognized. And the ICF credential holders are a self-regulating group of elite coaches. So it's self-regulating. There isn't a legal body that regulates. Coaches regulate themselves. And that's important why the ethical review board is so important, because it is self-regulating. And coaches, ICF credential holders provide accountability not only to their clients, but also to the coaching profession as a whole. So it's more than just the engagement that they're engaged in at the moment. That's very important, but it's also the broader community. What's happening in the coaching profession? How can they support it? How can they advance the profession? And all credential holders pursue rigorous education and practice requirements, which I mentioned earlier. that provide unquestioned legitimacy to their commitment to excellence in coaching. One of the things that the Credentials and Standards Board is pursuing is global recognition with ISO certification, which you should see coming up in I hope in 2021, and also 𝒑𝒓𝒐𝒂𝒄𝒉, which is an American body that certifies credentialing organizations. So you'll start to see that you're not just taking ICF's word for it. We will have certification at a global and in America at their level of standards. So this is your assurance that when you're hiring an ICF credentialed coach, that you're getting a coach that's dedicated to excellence in their field and in their profession. So any questions about this credential and the different levels before I go any further? Any questions about the different levels or why it's important for when you're hiring a coach? And coaches, why it's so important for you to be proud of this credential. You put a lot of work into this.
And Benita, I guess there was a question connected with our levels of credentialing. Does ICF provide team coaching training so that after the training person can get ICF certificate and become a team organizational coach?
Yeah, I'm going to address that soon. It's coming.
Good.
It's
Thank you.
something new that's coming in credentialing.
Okay, we don't have any additional questions. Yeah, let's move forward.
Okay, then I'm going to move on. So here's some statistics from one of the surveys that was done. So among people in a coaching relationship, 83% said the credential was important. And for those people who are aware of coaching but have not been in a coaching relationship, 76% considered a credential important. And the satisfaction with the coaching experience, 88% of consumers who participated in a coaching relationship said they were satisfied with the experience. 94% of consumers who participated in a coaching relationship with a credentialed coach said they were satisfied. So you can see if you're hiring a coach that your end users, the people who will actually be coached, have 94% of them will be satisfied with their coaching. And I think we at ICF credential coaches can be pretty proud of those statistics. And that's from an ICF consumer study done in 2000. I think that was 2015. Your credentialed coaches also, so your credentialing gives you the foundation for coaching, but then your coaches must have continuous professional development. So it doesn't end there. Your coaches are always learning. They're always learning new things to renew their credential. If they don't want to go to a higher credential, they want to stay where they are. They still have to have continuous professional development to renew their credential. So it's not a static credential. You get it once and it's good forever. It's something that you have to continually develop and learn. And the thing that's new also in the professional development is that ICF is now saying that a reflective practice is very, very important in delivering professional coaching. So whether that's the coach working with a supervisor or whether that's the coach sitting back and reflecting on their own, it's now being recognized as part of the competencies that professional coaches will need in the future. Leading the future. So, and somebody had asked a question before I go on. Someone had asked a question about mentor coaching, how to select a mentor coach. When you're looking for a mentor coach, your mentor coach needs to be one credential level higher than you. Or if there's, say you want to, they need to be, when I say one higher level, not necessarily another credential level, but if say they're an ACC coach, you want to hire them as your mentor, they must have had renewed their credential at least once. And all that information is on the coachfederation.org website. There's also a mentor coach registry there where you can find a mentor coach. What I strongly recommend when you're looking for a mentor coach is to talk to 2 or 3 different mentor coaches to see which one has the best fit for you, which feels right, which has the best chemistry. Everybody coaches differently. And so it's really important that you work with a mentor coach that you're comfortable with, but also someone who challenges you, not just who makes you feel comfortable. Being challenged is a good thing in coaching. So that was a question about mentor coaching. And somebody asked me what I thought was the criteria that were most important for coaches. And I think that the most important criteria to be a coach is to be curious about people. And the second one, I think, is to be respectful of all people. So I think if you're really curious about people and you really respect people, no matter their age, their stage in life, no matter what they do for a living, that those are really, really important things for coaches. Someone else asks about educating the business community. Know what your client is looking for, and give them the assurance through the credential that they're hiring someone who's a continuous learner, who can prove their expertise and is dedicated to their profession and to their standards of excellence. So I hope that answers some of the initial questions. And I'm going to talk about this, why ICF credentialed coaches are important to me when I'm hiring them, because they're also leading the future of coaching, which I think is really, really important. So first of all, the ICF core competency model was recently updated and it will be effective 2021. So again, it's not something that's static. It's really important that I want HR professionals and business people and coaches to understand that this is ongoing. It's ongoing development and ongoing research and ongoing updates on the coaching profession that changes as the world changes. And the International Coach Federation stands behind their coaches. They put temporary measures in place during COVID for their coaches, for their membership renewals and their credential applications. So it's important for you as a hiring manager to know that behind every coach is also this organization that is helping to support them in their profession. And the other thing I thought was really exciting during COVID, and I think this speaks to some of the criteria for being a coach, is that many ICF coaches stepped up during this pandemic by offering pro bono coaching for frontline workers. So realizing that there was this real need and stepping forward and offering free pro bono coaching for frontline workers. I thought that was just an incredible statement to the excellence and the profession of coaching. And the Coaching Federation has recognized that by increasing the number of eligible hours for pro bono coaching for credential applications. So in your credential application for your 100 hours, 75 of those have to be paid and 75 75 and 25. Yes. Math is not my expertise. So, and 25 can be pro bono, but those hours have been increased during COVID to support our coaches who are doing this extra work and stepping up in coaching during this time. And now the person who asked about the team coaching competencies. So the Credentials and Standards of ICF is offering a new pathway for credentialed coaches. So this is important for coaches, and this is important for the consumers of coaching. So those people who are hiring coaches. And it's called an ICF coaching specialty. And the first one to be released is the ICF team coaching competencies. So these are the competencies that team coaches that ICF will measure, will assess and train on team coaching. This is over and above your ICF credential. So you're expected already to have an ICF coaching credential, the foundation, and then you can add a coaching specialty on top, starting with the first one, which will be the team coaching. And this makes it easy, we believe, as coaches and as a ICF board, for consumers of coaching to identify, again, it's important to have something that's verifiable. So you can be sure when an ICF coach steps forward that they can verify that credential. They've been trained, they've been assessed, they've written exams, and that they have continuous learning. And the same will hold true for the ICF team coaching competencies. And just to give you an idea of some of the, when I say the highest standard of excellence, just to give you an idea of some of the research that was done, there was 18 months of research done before releasing the team coaching credentials. So the ICF, there's a team called they used to be called the research team. I think they're called the science team now. And they researched this for 18 months. So this is, I hope, for you business people listening and for your HR hiring managers, that this gives you some sense of confidence when a coach steps forward with that credential. And for coaches, the idea was to recognize your coaching journey, because you're required to maintain your credential. You're required to do all this learning over and above your foundational training. And now that will be recognized, and you can easily, that's easily verifiable for you, for the people that are the people that are hiring you. So is that the person who asked the question about the team coaching credential? Does that answer your question? Any questions coming in on Q&A before I go on, or should I continue?
Sorry.
Ella, you're on mute.
Yeah, I'm unmuted already. What does pro bono coaching mean? And I think it's a very interesting question. Yeah.
Pro bono means no charge, that you will not be charged for the coaching. So the coach is offering their service for free.
May I add something to that? Because when I saw this question, I went to Wikipedia, because I really like what Wikipedia says on what means pro bono. It is a Latin phrase for professional work undertaken voluntarily and without payment. Unlike traditional volunteering, it uses the specific skills of professionals to provide services to those who are unable to afford them. And this words about professional voluntarism, so I guess they always change the meaning. It's not just free of charge. This is a professional work which requires professional skills.
Yes. Thank you for that clarity, Ella. That's excellent. Thank you. So any other questions before I go further on this gold standard that coaches can be proud to tell their future employers or their future clients, and that hiring managers, HR managers, and businesses can be proud to say they hire, or that they are trained in the gold standard of coaching, recognized globally. Any questions about that before I go further? You're mute.
I'm sorry again. If you want to be a team coach, do you firstly need to certificate as ACC, or is it separate process for certification for team coach?
With the ICF credential, you will need to hold either an ACC, PCC, or MC first before you apply for your team coaching certification, if you want the ICF team coaching credential.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Oh,
not now.
Okay. So what I'd like to talk about, and I've talked a little bit about the certification for individual coaches and how important that is, and sort of the standards that go behind that. But now I want to talk about what stands behind when a coach shows up in your office or shows up for a coaching session, what's behind them? So there's so much more than just the individual coach. And this is where I talk about leading the future. The International Coach Federation is now a body of 6 different separate standalone family organizations. So when we look at the at the coach standing in front of us, this is what we see. We see these 6 family organizations. So I'll start at the top with the professional coaches. That is the independent organization that takes care of the members and the chapters across the world, globally. So they take care of all the membership questions and events. This is an example of ALA has offered this through ICF professional coaches. So this is an example for you of one of the family organizations and what they do. Another family organization is I'm going to go down to my right, is the coach training. So there is a separate organization that takes care of accrediting or providers of coach training to make sure that they're training to the highest standards, the gold standard in coaching. So they also have to go, those schools also have to go through an accreditation process, and that has to be renewed. That's not I got my accreditation as a school and it's good forever. No, that also has to be renewed. So we want that always that continuous professional standard for our coaches and for our coach training schools. I'm the chair of the credentials and standards. And again, we specifically work with the core competencies and the code of ethics and offering those new coaching specialties. So we really concentrate on that gold standard in that mark of the ICF credential that we hope you as coaches are proud of, and that those of you who are hiring coaches, that you're looking for this mark of excellence when you're hiring a coach. The next family organization is the Thought Leadership Institute, which is one of the new families, which I think is a really exciting family. So it is what it says, thought leadership. Membership in the Thought Leadership family organization is for innovators, business leaders, might be a university that enters. It could be an independent company that does some research and development in the field of something that's of interest to coaching. So this Thought Leadership Institute is really what's helping us shape the future. And I guess I say shape the future, but the future is also present. It's not just something that's going to happen 20 years from now. It's also thought leadership and what's happening today. What's happening with COVID? Right? What's happening right now? That's the Thought Leadership Institute. So I think that's a really exciting new family organization. So when you're hiring the coach, remember that there's a whole Thought Leadership Institute standing behind them. The next family organization is the ICF Foundation, which is the Foundation for Social Impact, because we believe absolutely that coaching can have a positive impact on society. And the foundation is the family that runs programs such as the program they just ran, which was called Ignite, which was working in the field of education with the, I can't remember the name, what's it called? Isn't that funny? The headquarters in New York. Anyways, I can't remember, but with their world goal by 2040 of increasing the value of education in the world across across all cultures, all countries, not just for the rich and famous, not just for CEOs, but also for people in poorer countries who maybe they can afford coaching. So the ICF Foundation set up a program called Ignite, where again, coaches volunteered, provided pro bono coaching to the leaders of those organizations, those universities, those schools, those not-for-profit organizations. And the ICF Foundation was the organization that measures the impact of that and organizes it all. And they will have future initiatives coming up. That was just one example I wanted to give you. So that's the ICF Foundation, who is ensuring that the social impact of coaching continues to be significant. And the last but not least new organization is the ICF Coaching and Organizations, which we dedicated so for you business leaders and you HR managers, ICF coaching and organizations will be dedicated to your needs. Now they're just new, they're just starting. So that's about all I can tell you about that at the moment. I'm not on that board, but I know that they're doing some good foundational work in beginning and that you'll be hearing from them. But they will be working with some of the standards and some of the programs for coaching and organizations, such as creating a coaching culture, which is a very important initiative for businesses, small or big. So when you see that ICF credentialed coach or ICF member standing in front of you, this is what's behind them. 6 family organizations and then a global enterprise board that takes care of things like the budget across the families and the branding, so it's consistent. And this is some of the new branding. I hope you like the new colors. We're pretty excited about them ourselves. Any questions about the family organizations before I go on?
Spenita, we have one question about the selection of coaches. I can read it from 𝒑𝒓𝒐𝒂𝒄𝒉. She says, thanks you for interesting presentation. And the question is, what are the crucial differences, different criteria for selecting coaches for individuals and for teams? Are there any differences in the frames of core competencies for them?
All ICF credentialed coaches follow the same 8 core competencies. The difference is if you're hiring a coach is to really be able to align the business need with the coach's capabilities. So you might have a coach that specializes in health and wellness. You don't want to hire that coach to coach your CEO. You probably want to hire a coach, an ICF credentialed coach who works with CEOs and has some corporate or business experience, and perhaps even has experience in the industry that you're working in. So I think the important thing to remember when hiring a coach is, of course, first of all, look for the ICF credential. And secondly, is to make sure you align the coach with your business needs. Make sure you know why you're hiring a coach and what benefits you want out of that. And then speak to the coach about that. Does that answer the question?
I hope 𝒂𝒂𝒄𝒉 is with us and we will hear from her in the chat as well.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, Kessa says, thank you. It looks like that you answered to her question.
Okay. Yeah. This, we forget. Yes, that business need is so important to make sure you align your coaching initiatives with what is the business need behind that? Is it development? Is it leadership development? Then you want to be looking for a coach who may have some experience in leadership development. Is it because you want to enter, your business is now entering completely new markets and you want coaching around innovation? What's the business need? And make sure that the coach knows that and is able to address that. So it's really, really important. It's really important. And one of our new core competencies is to make sure that contracting in the beginning before coaching starts is really important. Otherwise, the coach will be dissatisfied with the engagement, the coachees will be dissatisfied with the engagement, and you as a hiring manager or sponsor will be dissatisfied if those requirements are not identified initially. Too many times in the past, I've seen people just say, oh, we were going to hire a coach because it's good for the company. And they don't really know why they're hiring a coach. And then they go in the end, well, it wasn't good. Well, really? Well, what you didn't define good. So make sure you know what that is. Okay, that's enough. I'm going on a rampage there. So I'm going to go on now to the other thing I want you to understand when you hire a credentialed coach is that ICF invests in industry research to demonstrate the highly effective nature of coaching. And this allows a community of coaches to stand strong in the knowledge of industry trends to inform their daily decisions. So it's really important for you to know that your coaches are getting these reports and are how do I say that, are at the leading edge of what's happening in the coaching industry. So that's, to me, that's one of the reasons why I hire ICF credential coaches. And I think I'll give an example. Well, I'm going to go on to the next slide. At the end, I'm going to give you an example of some of the reasons why that's so important. So here's some of the current research reports that are available. Now you don't have to get these from an ICF credentials coaches. Feel free to purchase them from the 𝒑𝒓𝒊𝒏𝒈 website. You can buy them if you don't want to work with the coach. But if you work with an ICF credential coach, they can forward copies of these reports to you. So ICF and Pricewaterhouse 2020 did a global coaching study that quantifies the size and value of the coaching industry worldwide and by region. And because I work in the Middle East now, I thought this was really interesting to read about the Middle East and in my opinion, very useful and very accurate. And I forwarded it to many of my clients for them to have a look at. See, just to see what's happening in different parts of the world with coaching. I thought was really useful. Also in 2020 and soon to be released in 2021 was a report on how is the current pandemic of COVID-19 affecting the coaching industry. So we wanted to see the impact of the pandemic. You know, did it increase the need for coaching? Did it decrease the need for coaching? You know, what was the impact? It was a really interesting study, and I'm really looking forward now to the 2021 survey to see if it's changed at all. And in 2020, also ICF partnered with Human Capital Institute, HCI, on research on building a coaching culture. And this 2020 was an update. I believe the first building a coaching culture research was done on organizations who are building coaching cultures, what impact it had on their businesses was in 2014. And there's been an update done on that every year. Compare, you know, what's the impact of having a coaching culture? It's really important to know. So when I talked about a business need, why are you building a coaching culture? What's the impact on your business? So these are reports for me anyways. I find them very, very useful to have. And my clients that I forward them to find them quite informative. So those are available to you. All that stuff is available at coachfederation.org. Get a copy of the Code of Ethics. Get a copy of the competencies that you expect coaches you're hiring to have. So your ICF credentials coaches can prove those competencies. Can other coaches who come to you and are not credentialed, can they prove those competencies, or are you just going to take their word for it? I'm not saying they're not good coaches. They might be fantastic coaches, but if they have a credential that they have verified that and they can prove their level of excellence in training. If you're looking for a training program, you can also find a training program search service, and coaches, make sure you're listed on the Credentialed Coach Finder. Hiring managers, you can go to the Credentialed Coach Finder to find a coach in any country at any level. You can specify areas of interest that you're looking for. So if you're a not-for-profit and you want a coach that works for not-for-profit organizations, you can select that also. If you're working in corporate and you want leadership development, you can select that. There's all kinds of coaches and all kinds of specialties for you to find and enjoy their services. Now, I wanted to give you an example that just happened today, actually, about the Code of Ethics. So because I only, how much time do I have? Do I have time for, maybe I should take questions first, and then if I have time, I'll share this one thing about the Code of Ethics. So any questions that I could answer for participants?
We don't have questions right now, so please go on with what you would wanted to share.
Yes, I wanted to share this, how important the ICF Code of Ethics is, and especially as a hiring manager, when I hire coaches, this really sticks out for me. So I had a call from a coach today that I have working on a very large national project with high impact. and they called to check with me because they felt that one of the people they were coaching might need further healthcare professional help, that as a coach is not part of their remittance. And so they called to me to let me know and to find out moving forward, what they should do with this. Now, this is part of the code of ethics. If a coach recognizes that there's something going on that's beyond their capabilities, coaches are not psychologists, coaches are not therapists, they're not counselors, they're not financial experts, they're not accountants, they're coaches and they're trained in coaching. So if it's something that comes their way out of their remit, we ask them to let the client know that that's not part of their capabilities, and that they're happy to give a reference to that participant or that client. So this is really, really important for you to know as a coach and as a hiring manager, as a leader who's coaching, and as a recipient of coaching. Okay. So, questions?
How time flies, Benita. It is only, we have 9 minutes left. So looking forward for the questions. Nevertheless, your presentation was very comprehensive. So
Okay. If there aren't any questions, one of the things I would like to address is someone asked, how do they get selected as a coach? This was a really interesting question for me. I thought this was really interesting. Of course, because as I'm part of an HR consultancy, I'm always selling our coaching services also. So, you know, my credentialed coaches that we have on our team, I want to make sure that they're getting the opportunities to get interesting work. So I say, how do I select? I select a coach by a credential. But it's more than that. I also look for what the business need is, the requirement, and do I believe the coach has the experience to understand what the clients are talking about. And I'm going to use, first of all, something personal. I'm going to say that I don't coach lawyers because I've tried coaching lawyers. I cannot coach lawyers. I don't know what it is, but there's no reason why I couldn't, but for some reason, I don't understand the context that they work in. And so I personally do not take clients who are lawyers because I'm not the right coach for them. That's my code of ethics. That's my professional standard. And I would hope that any coach that I have working for me does the same thing. They need to know where they aren't effective. So coaches, when you say, how do I get selected as a coach? Make sure you know where you work best and where you provide value, and that you can explain that to your client. Make sure you know that.
Eka, would you like to read in another? I'm sorry, Benita, have you finished? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Would you
I
like
just wanted to know, does that answer that question? Does that answer that question for the person who asked, how do you get selected as a coach?
Please let us know.
Did they answer? You know, there's, yeah.
Right now, we have 2 more questions in the Q&A and the chat, Alla. Feel free as you want.
Yeah. Thank you, Eka. I guess that Benita has already answered to the question of Tamara Tomovic, how important is business experience background for coaches? Would you like to add?
It depends. Yeah, yes, I would. So the business experience is important if you want to sell your coaching services in business, right? It's not important if you want to work in education, or you want to work in the non-for-profit world, or you want to work in health and wellness. So when you say business experience, I'm assuming you mean working in the business world. But the other aspect of that is you have to know, coaches usually are independent and they have to know how to run their own business. They're also entrepreneurs. So it's really important that you have that. If you're going to start your own business, you need to know how to run a business besides coach. So there's two answers to that question. I wasn't sure which part she wanted to know.
Thank you, Benita. And we have 5 minutes to the end of the webinar, and we have 2 questions. And Polina Yordanova asks, I'm not able to find any info about team certification on the website.
Well, the team coaching certification, it will be released. Right now, we're setting up the assessment exams. So the competencies have been released. They are on the coachfederation.org. Go to the credentials tab, and you will find the team coaching competencies there. The assessment is being developed now. Research is being done on the assessment and the training requirements, working with the Coach Training Institute on the requirements for the training. So watch for those coming.
Okay, they are coming soon. Great.
Yes.
Okay, Anna asks, can I will be coach for people with disabilities and what I need for it?
I don't know because I don't coach people with disabilities, but I would assume that you would need to have a general knowledge about disabilities. I'm curious, are you wanting to coach those people because you have an interest in that area? I'm not quite sure what the question is. So you need to have coach training, and then I would suggest you need to have some general knowledge about disabilities. Does that answer the question? Any response?
Not now. This is also a very important question. Would you like to get feedback from Anna, who asked the question?
Yes.
Anna,
please. Yes.
Can you please let us know if Benita answered to your question? No answer. I guess we can take the question, what happens when a client is a little bit confused and is not sure a coach is needed or a mentor? Should coaches help them to identify it, or maybe there is another solution? Thanks for presentation.
If someone calls you and they aren't sure whether they want a coach or a mentor, I think it's your responsibility to help them to explain to them what a coach does and what a mentor does, because they're very different. So I think, yes, it is your professional responsibility to explain it. So that if they are buying coaching services, they know what they're buying. That's part of our code of ethics. It's up to you to explain it. It's not up to the client to know it.
Yes, and if we get back to the question about coaching people with disabilities, Anna answered that she would like to be a coach for these people.
Oh, nice. Excellent. Well, I think that's awesome, Anna, because I think that's an area that people could really benefit in coaching. So get your coach training, work on your credential. And I'm assuming that you know something about the area of disabilities, and get out there and help people with disabilities have fantastic lives.
We have just 1 minute to the end of the call. And again, Eka, I'm moving the mic to you, over to you, just to the final notice.
Thank you, Alla, so much. I wanted to put team coaching competencies in the chat as there was an interest, although I do not see this option. Do we have this option? Because I
Yes.
do not see it. Do we? Mm.
If you
Okay.
click on chat.
Yes, but it's not, maybe not, my version does not support this. Nevertheless, I could copy the link. That would be, I think, easier and nice
So
for all.
in closing to
There are,
participants, what I'd like to say is, thank you so much for your coaches, for your dedication to your to this profession of coaching. And thank you to the HR and the business leaders and the business owners who attended. I hope you got some information on the importance of hiring a professional coach.
thank you,
In closing.
Benita, so much. We were very happy to host you, and it was a great pleasure to co-create and organize this meeting with you and working all the way through. Thank you for your comprehensive presentation and all your questions and answers. I think we did a very nice job with the participants, and I would like to thank all the participants for the very high engagement. Alla.
Yeah, I just want to echo Benita and Eka. Thank you everyone who participated in creation, starting with the idea in creation, promotion, contribution, and facilitation. Eka, thank you so much for your facilitation. And Benita, I'm honored and pleased to partner with you for mostly 6 years already. Thank you so much for your commitments and dedication. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you everyone who attended. And there are in chat a lot of thank you notes, Benita, to you. Great, and we are looking forward to seeing our participants at the following ICF webinars and events.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.